All right, folks, welcome to episode number 20. We've hit the big 2-0.
Wow.
How you doing, Mike?
Good. A little bit more awake this time.
and an hour makes a difference, yeah. So yesterday, we were able to get our result. Instead of throwing exceptions, we were able to get our result thing that returns information. And so now that we have that, we need to start replacing our code or modifying the code to use this new method. So let's get to it.
Sounds good. I got Jira up. Did we forget to put that part down, or is the splitting the results going to be necessary for that? Maybe it's just reordering these two.
Yeah. So we could go ahead and just split the results because I was thinking about it, and I think it's going to just be relatively straightforward because we'll basically refactor to two inner classes that are going to be the subclasses. So we could go down that road, which is just refactoring, or we could move towards the more important part, which is have the service and controller use the new parse with result method.
I'd go either way. I'm inclining towards the more important, and then we can deal with the refactor later.
All right, then let's do that.
I'm really coin toss as far as I'm concerned.
All right, well, let's do it. So let's take a look at who's still calling the old parse method.
A lot of tests. Actually, not that many tests.
That's not that many tests.
No. Well, I thought it kept going, but it's just that one page.
So let's take a look at song service. Let's look at the production code for that. Right, so it's just going to get a list of songs, and then it adds the songs. So maybe we want to see here what tests are calling import songs.
I think no one's my guess. Oh, no, there is.
Well, I hope we had at least one test.
True.
So let's look at that last one. All right. I think then what we can do is treat this as a refactoring. So call the parse with a result, pull the songs out, and then it should just be the same. Basically, in other words, assume success here in the code, and then just pull the songs out of the result that comes back.
So you're saying change import songs to call parse with the result instead?
Right.
Now is parse result returning a list of songs? No, it's turning the results object. So we'll have to.
Right. So if you look at, in fact, we could just inline parse in this case.
Inline parse to
song service.
To song service.
So leave it, but inline it. So if you're going back into song service where you just were, just inline right there.
If we did that, but keep everything
right
else, it'll give us that along with our comment.
Yes, I think we can drop the comment from here.
Yeah.
And so that's back. That definitely should work because that was an inline of working code. So that should unless something else is completely broken, that should totally continue to work.
Oh, I see. Because it added the
the
train out to .songs.
Yep.
We run all tests.
Let's run all tests.
Yeah.
We do know that every time we do a push that they all get run, and we did do a push last time, so we know that all the tests have been run recently. but
And
it's
that
good to
automatic
run well at
factoring.
least once a day.
Yeah.
All right, that was fine. So let's go look at the rest of the calls to the parse method. It should just be the tests.
And they're all in one test class, it looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what we can do is start retargeting those tests to the parse with result,
Would
and then
we
we can get rid of it.
would you do it by inlining and then, because we could do the same thing here, right? Where we inline and the tests will just all work. But we're now not looking at result though.
Right. And I think we want to look at that result is success in all of these test
All right, we want to
cases.
assert on that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense.
But we could, I mean, there's not much to inline, right? It's literally calling dot songs, so there's not a
Right.
whole lot to inline. So let's just go through it one by one and call the parse with the result.
So you think manually do it or
Yeah,
okay.
because we're gonna have to change the return type anyway.
So this is what I was thinking. I was going to do this, turn it into result, look at result, then
Mhm.
extract songs from result in a second. So then
Yep.
I rename this. Actually, I just want to rename.
I wouldn't do a rename. I would just do result, and then we'll extract the songs from the result
So
in
you
the
mean
assert.
type the word result is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Got it. And then here we're doing assert that result.
Yeah, don't wait for it to autocomplete. It takes like,
Yeah. What is the instead of waiting for autocomplete, what was the technique that you had mentioned? You
don't
just type
wait,
it.
just type, just type.
Just type.
Yeah,
Okay. Got it.
yeah. Because if you wait, then eventually it will come up, but you typing it would have been faster.
Right. So that's what we were thinking, right?
Right. And then instead of songs, we can do result dot songs. And then run it, and we expect that to work.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Now we'll just do the same thing. Is this, I wonder, is this a pattern?
Probably. Yep.
Yep. I figure just blindly do it. If I got it wrong,
Yeah, we'll know about it.
we'll know about it pretty quickly.
Now this one,
No.
we've already replaced, so there's nothing to do here.
Oh, this is okay. Good eye. Thank you. I'm like, why is that structure different? Wait a second. This is actually wrong because we're testing. It should be that.
Yes.
And that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one's also using, that one's directly testing the parse song, so we don't need to modify that.
Right.
If
It
you
was
hit
only
if you hit F2, will it jump to the deprecated method? No, it jumps to that first. Okay, but we see the parse there on 90.
oh, this will be interesting. Huh.
Looks like the variable changed.
Changed name, yeah. Let me undo. Ah, it's called 3 rows. Where is 3 rows? Oh, it's up here. Actually, this we got the C wrong. And then this goes away.
Oh, it's funny. On Twitter, somebody suggested, "Oh, but what about teardown? That would make it seat." And I'm like, "No, you don't do teardowns in your tests. So don't have a seat."
Stay standing up. Don't sit down.
Yeah, just go to C. Don't have a seat. Looks like there's one more. So I'm
Yeah.
looking at the rightmost gutter. You see, there's a little bit of yellow amber, and
Here.
yeah, in the scroll bar gutter, it basically shows you those kinds of things. So you can jump to it. That's
Oh,
the
wait a
one.
second. I already did that one. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to fix this, then do. Oh,
Oops.
I forgot to.
Control Shift V will help you. You don't need to
Right. That's the
recopy.
buffer.
Yep.
Shift B. And we
And then
want
2.
that one.
And the variable name is TSV2
Changed again.
songs. Yeah.
Yep. I'll pass them.
All right. So my guess is now, I think we've eliminated all uses of parse. So if we go to parse and see if there are any usages, there shouldn't be any. All right.
Interesting. It didn't gray it out. Oh,
Yeah.
because
So
it's deprecated.
yes. And
That's.
I guess I understand that, because if you deprecated it, maybe you'd be worried about that there are usages that you don't have access to. But it is what it is, so we can delete it.
Yeah. That's right. Let's see if this works. Should. Yep. Cool. Quiet today.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
So back to Jira.
Well, let's do a commit.
Yes. There was a nice phrase you used. Repoint. Was that the
Retarget.
retarget? Is that like? Do you need the hyphen or no? Is
No,
this all a
it's
word?
one word. I think it's one word.
Okay.
Hey, Astrid, nice to see you.
No, actually, it's all of them.
Yep.
Good enough. Now we can put the X here.
Yes.
Do we want to rename parse with result to parse?
Yes. So now that's sort of the last step, and maybe we should have done that before we did the commit, but you can always amend it if you'd like.
Actually, I'm going to undo that. Was parse one of the options? That wasn't. Interesting.
Oh, I also asked ChatGPT if there was a better way to do the partitioning and stuff. And as I suspected, there's a way to write your own reducer. And then it can reduce it down to a result that either has all success songs or all the failure messages inside of a single result. But we can leave that for when we do more refactoring on that.
Should we put it a note of it so we don't forget, or you won't?
Um, yeah, you can add it sort of after 57 because it'll sort of be part of that. So I might
Um,
indent it because it's kind of part of the refactor of result.
got it. And you were saying I was busy doing the commit. I didn't get the commit.
Just change partition by to use custom reducer. Yeah, T is another option. It's one of those where it'd be interesting to have a few different ways of doing
Hmm.
it and see which one we like. Hey there, Visual. Welcome. Yeah, so it's really interesting. Like ChatGPT is, it's a pattern generator, and is it the best way? No idea. But can it offer alternatives based on, in a sense, based on, or almost literally, not almost literally, literally based on code that's out there? What other code, what has other code done in somewhat similar situations? So, um, that's right. It's all statistics. All this highfalutin AI, it just comes down to statistics.
So if they're building their knowledge mostly on toy projects out of GitHub,
Well, even worse, they're doing it out of stuff that is at the level. Have you seen the level of quality of stuff on GitHub? That's where I really wanna, and I keep saying this, and at some point somebody's gonna help me do it. Like generate an LLM based on my code bases or code bases that I've handpicked.
curate. So basically, instead of
Yeah,
curated song theme lists,
right.
you're talking about curated um,
Curated
data
clean.
feeds to an LLM.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be actually kind of cool.
Yeah, what I don't know is like is like how much data do you actually need in order for it to be sort of useful? But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I believe some of the plugins will also sort of learn from your code and use the code as context, but I think it's only the current project. Whereas, you know, it's not like I have a whole lot of code, but I have enough. Yes, enough code to be jitterish or jittery. I don't know. All right. So tested, we've got all our tests pointing now towards our new parse method, which returns a result. And so now I think we need to go and look at who's calling, or what are we doing in the import song. So now we sort of need to propagate the result. Um, we've sort of been doing inside out. And now here, we're basically ignoring the fact that there might be failures.
Yeah.
So we need to see what tests are testing import songs. And probably want to go to the closer in test, yeah. So now we need to change behavior.
Yeah.
So now we
Oh, change behavior of the test or production. Oh, I guess we do need to change behavior of import songs because we want it to test. Right.
right, right. So we'll need another test that where the bulk import fails. Um, and we have to decide what we want to do about that.
For lack of a better name, just to start.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we could just
So,
steal. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
well, before we do anything, what should it do if it fails? So right now, if it succeeds, it adds it to its uh, internal database through the
Oh,
add
because
song.
it's a command, so there's no return. So at this level, Would we want it to throw an exception at
No, and so this is sort of the
the result versus exception
yeah,
conversation?
yeah, and so, 'Cause, so besides the test, who's calling import songs? That should be called by the adapter, right? The song importer, yeah.
Yeah.
So what we'd want here, um, is yeah, what we want here is we want a result to be returned by line 29, because if it's a failure, we wanna,
Be able to.
uh, put the messages in the model, and then redirect back to the song import page for them to try again. So I think, I mean, we could throw an exception, but that makes it really. I mean, the whole point is
No.
the whole point is of what we've been doing is to return a
Yeah.
result. So we return a
Yeah, no,
result.
it wasn't really it wasn't long to be convinced.
Yeah.
I was convinced a while ago. But I like that we walked through it all the way up to the adapter.
Yep.
I think that really makes it clear.
Yeah,
Like
because it shows what we actually need at this level. Yeah.
exactly.
So then, it's interesting because commands aren't supposed to return information, but it's not actually we're not actually returning information. We are either returning, uh, a success or failure, um, and I think that's okay at this level. My
Now it's
mm,
interesting at this
yeah.
level. So we're parsing. So success at this level, do we want the result object to just be success and not contain the songs that were added?
I mean, if we
Or
want it to be pure, then,
you saw where I'm going with that. Yeah.
I mean, I went through yeah, in my head, I went through the same thought process of, do we wanna slim down the result, if it's success, and so if it's success, you can't ask for the songs, uh, to
Through the
prevent
service. Yeah,
through
you
the
gotta ask.
service to sort of prevent looking at the actual data that was processed. I don't I don't I don't think that's necessary.
Do you think it's not necessary because it's just the two of us working on this? Or I guess the way I would think about it is if this was part of a large team, would you make the same decision? 'Cause this is more of a gentle person's agreement. We won't look at
Um,
it.
I don't so over time, I've
I'm being devil's
adjusted.
advocate here on
Yeah, no,
purpose,
no,
by
this
the way.
that's really good. No, uh, o over time, I've been sort of incorporating nuances of the command query separation, and, I think it's always apply, almost almost always applicable at the domain object level. At the service level, I think commands need to return some kind of status of, did this thing work or not, or were there errors in it?
Oh,
So at the application layer, the
oh,
rules are a
sorry.
bit different.
I misphrased my. I'm not saying we shouldn't
No, no. So
return
so that's
status.
b- well,
Then you're
let me
building
finish.
up to. Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
and so now at the controller level, it's okay to actually get, if you wanted them, to get the songs. Like, I don't think that would be a bad thing here,
Hmm.
because you're getting at this level, you're getting the results of what's essentially creation. So import is interesting because command query only applies to change of state to existing things. It does not apply to creation. And this is subtle, and this took me a while to sort of get through my thick skull of when I say, for example, you know, something as simple as add a new user to a system, with a method called create user. That's not a command. It's command-like in the sense that you're changing state of the system, but it's not command against a specific object. Changing the user's name, that's a command against a specific object. And that's what we want to avoid that method from returning something.
Right.
But a creation, especially since you might need the identifier, like, hey, we just created a user and here's your ID so that we can show you your profile page. You absolutely need that. And for a while I was like, oh, why is that the case, right? So if you think about the flow of a page, you basically you're the admin, you're adding a user, you type in their info, you hit a button. If we didn't return that user's ID, there would be no way to look at that user's details. We'd have to then basically go
Right.
and find them, which makes no sense.
Right.
And so returning the ID, or even returning the full user, but you may as well just return the ID. Then you can basically take the admin directly to the page of here's the user you just created, and that's okay because it's creation,
Right.
and not modification of an existing object. And so command query separation applies. That's why I say it applies at the domain object level. When you have a domain object, you don't want to return anything from a command that modifies its state. But creation, or anything that does creation like stuff at the application layer, command query separation doesn't apply. Hey, Sweetie.
It's easy.
Yeah, and that's really awkward. And that's the place where you know you can you could do that, right? So you could have at the application layer import songs and then query, hey, how'd that go? Give me the result. Um, but that makes no sense.
I mean, going back to the DB thing,
Yeah.
would that that's assuming not a high transaction rate or high, like,
Well, you're doing it within the context of a transaction.
oh, within the context. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not like after. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, what if you get 5 at once?
Yeah. Yeah.
Within
No, it has
microseconds.
to be the context of what you just executed.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I see creation as sort of similar to a command, but the rules are different, right? Because it is changing the state of the system. Your request, the intent is to change state. It may or may not. It may not be able to create the thing. It may not be able to change the state of the thing. So it's very command-like, but creation is a special, is still a different case. So with all that said, I think I think import songs really makes sense for it to return a result. So I think what we should do first, even before we write this test, is
Mhm.
make that slight change to our test above where we currently are.
Right.
Basically, get a return value and assert also that
Because they manually
but
do it, huh?
you can't var it up because it's not returning a value.
Right. That bar it up is pretty smart. Um, so you're saying something like this,
Yeah.
and then force the signature change.
Yep.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll return null. That's fine.
We run everything now. It should still be.
Yeah, everything should still pass.
Yeah.
We can consider this a prepare refactoring. We're returning a null that nobody looks at, and we've changed the signature, which nobody cares about.
So actually, even before we do this one, we could check for success in this one.
Yes,
I probably should check the text, not
and
just
we
could.
should, yes. Yeah.
Oops, I blew it.
Don't forget to close the paren.
Ah,
You can always tell when like the the indent is wrong. It's like, oh, I must not have closed the expression. All right, so that should still pass.
Yep.
Because that's
Well, actually, no, it's
except
gonna.
no null, right?
No, it's not.
Good. I'm glad it failed because I was like, oh, I don't. We actually changed behavior. I didn't like that it failed, so my bad.
Right.
Right. So of course we get a null pointer exception.
Yeah. I
Because
wonder why.
now it's not a backward compatible change.
Oops, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so we actually don't even, for now, this test can be empty, and we can work off this one.
Yeah.
It's
So we can
successful.
leave that test of where it is and just
Yeah.
we now have a failing test, and now let's make it pass.
So we will, let's see, can we?
So you don't have to select anything if you do an extract variable.
Extract variable at what point? Like at the parse, like here?
Doesn't matter.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, it'll ask me which one.
Right.
Ah, sweet. Excuse me. And then we'll call that result.
So Suiji is the postfix.var, is that the one coming from the internal IntelliJ one, or is that one coming from the custom postfix plugin? Because I know the custom postfix plugin, if Lombok is present in the project, will use the Lombok version. If Lombok is not present, then it will default back to the typical var. I was doing some more custom postfix template stuff yesterday.
Shall we run the test?
Before we run the test, what do we think is going to happen?
I think it's going to pass. Oh, wait a second. No, parse is returning result. Yeah.
Yeah.
It should pass.
Yeah, that should pass.
Cool.
All right. How about we clean up the code a little bit in import songs?
Yeah, I'm looking at it, trying to figure out. I was thinking it seems cluttered to me. We need result. Oh, that's songs.
You can just do the for each on the result.songs and get rid of holding on to the songs.
Oh, so.
Nope.
Oh, uppercase.
No. You don't want to change the for each. You want to attach the for each to result.songs. So basically combine lines 34 and 35.
Got it. Is there an automated refactoring for this? I just manually do it like that.
You could maybe inline it. In fact, not could. You absolutely could inline right there. Inline
Yes,
a variable.
of course.
Yep, that's what
There
we
we
want.
go. Sweet.
So Suiji, one thing I know is that if you have the modal dialogues on for the refactoring, .var will not work. Which is why I reprogrammed .var as a custom postfix plugin template. And they won't fix it because apparently there are multi-threading issues with the modal dialog box and the .var. If you're not using modal dialogues and it's still not working, I can't help you. All right. Yes, we're on team modal dialogues. I much prefer it, but yes, that's the price you pay as .var stops working, which kind of sucks. But I now just either use the custom postfix one or just the shortcut for introducing a variable. Because interestingly enough, it appears that IntelliJ's built-in .var doesn't do a postfix like change. It actually invokes the refactoring.
Oh,
And that's why it doesn't work, because you are invoking something that would cause a modal dialog to appear, and they basically said it's too hard for us to fix it, so we're not going to fix it. Yeah, so I added just a couple. I'll post my link to it at some point when I can find it. Oh, well, that stinks. How can you have different projects with different preferences? Everybody needs to be on the same page. But no, I get it. I think var, I don't know, var as a variable declaration, I just don't use it. And people I talk to is like, yeah, we don't use it either. It's occasionally useful for complex stream temporary variables, and that's about it. But I'm an explicit type kind of guy. All right.
now test failure mode, right?
So that works. So let's do a commit before we move on to the next test. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like var. I see it in code, and then I'm like, I have no idea what type this is, and it's really frustrating. Especially since I'm often looking at code like that on GitHub, and then you don't have the ID available. I don't know how people do it when they're processing pull requests on GitHub, and it's like, I don't know what this is. All right. So what are we doing here?
Well, we want something that's like an assert that result is failure, whatever the exact name is, right?
All
That's
right. Yep.
our goal.
I am so tempted to write, and maybe we should add to the Jira, is write a custom assert for result. Because it's really annoying me that we're constantly writing result is success is true and result is failure is true, which gives us really not great failure messages. Plus, it's just annoying to have to basically type 2 extra things. What I'd like is an assert that result is failure or result is success. We might do that sooner rather than later.
This part, I feel like we can just copy
Well, we want
and then
failure.
tweak it, right?
Well, why don't we grab the failure stuff from our previous test
That was
in the TSV song parser test,
from over
not
there.
this test class. Yeah, absolutely. The let's write tests, like let's write more and better tests, is definitely a higher priority than getting rid of var.
Yeah.
Oh, 100% agree, Suiji. I actually have a pull request that I have to submit for dispatcher type that Mike and I ran into, I think last week, maybe the week before. where it was not documented which one it was importing, and there were two possibilities, and we chose the wrong one first. Let's grab one with 2 lines so we can get 2 failure messages. Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, good point.
Oh my god, Astra. Every time I hear this, but how do you code if you don't like, how do you test if you don't know what it should do? Yet people think it's okay to code without knowing what it should do, and it boggles my mind, like, you actually do know what it but in a sense, they don't. And I've seen this, especially when I've done training, where it's almost you figure it out as you go along. Like, you write some code, it's like, "Oh, we're gonna need to put an if statement here," and then you get into that, it's like, "Oh, we're gonna need to loop here," and then you get into that, it's like, "Oh, we're gonna have to need another if statement here." And so, basically, you're figuring out as you go along, and that's why people who code first, test after will often say, "How do you know what you're gonna do?" Because I don't care what I end up doing, I care what it does. And it's a very, very different it's the hardest mind shift for people. And the only way you can get them to shift is for them to experience it. It's yeah, it's like but it's true. But it's true that when you code first and test after, you actually don't know what it's gonna do. And that's why it's just they're as baffled as about test first as I now am of code first. That's a great term, perpetual spiking. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah. And then you write it and it's done, and it's like, okay, now I got to figure out how to test it to see that it did what now I know what I want it to do. And so they were using the coding process to figure it out, which makes sense, right? When often, when we're writing articles or text or documentations, like, or not documentation maybe, but like when we're writing, right, we're clarifying our thoughts as we're writing it. And that's a forcing function in order to be able to put it into words on paper or on screen, it can't be this fuzzy stuff that's in our head. And it's a great way to think about things, really, to get concrete about it. And people code the same way. Most people code that way. Unfortunately, then when you get to test this, like, oh crap, this isn't testable. Yeah, that's a different problem.
70%. Whoa.
Whatever, doesn't matter. Like any non-trivial amount of commented code. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? All right.
While you were talking, I wrote
Uh,
the test.
right. There is
Tucson.
no is failure method, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I changed it to
Yeah.
success and then it's false.
Um, yeah, looks good to me.
So, and then we'll get that to pass and then we'll do the second assert, was what I was thinking. Well,
Well, for the failure messages, yes. Right.
yes.
Yep. Yep. So we expect this to fail because oh no, it should pass, right? Because it's just a delegating it. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know that I feel the need to test the messages at this level,
Oh,
because we've already tested it at the
yeah, that's a good point.
closer in level. Here, so this is really interesting, because I've had people toss toss out code that appears to test nothing. Like, what is this testing? But it is so even though it may or may not rise to the level of more complex tests, this is telling us, though, that we've wired stuff to correctly together, that we understand how things are, how code is calling other code. And so I'll see sometimes people throw out a test where it's like, oh, it looks like it's just, you know, not really doing anything, but this actually is doing something that's, I think, just about deserving of a test. But that's it. Once we know that is success is false, we know that we're actually getting false. We don't need, and the actual error messages we know are going to be there, and we don't need to test those directly. And yeah,
Is there,
so
I
go
guess,
ahead.
is there a scenario? I guess that I'm going to devil's advocate again.
Yeah.
So, is there a scenario where the result message at the point in which the result object, or we're writing to the result object failure messages, if somehow somewhere between there and here it gets corrupted or deleted in some way, by having a checking the failure messages, we're putting in guardrails against that foobaroo. It's kind of a major mess up, right? To somehow in between when we're setting it, I don't even know where we're setting it. I have to go through the hierarchy, right? And then parse, and then here. So if somewhere in that chain, someone decided to, well,
Mhm.
actually, can they even delete failure
Well,
messages?
you first of all, you
Yeah,
can't modify an existing result because it's immutable.
it's immutable. Yeah. So okay. So that's
So there's that.
mhm.
And the only place you could change what gets returned, well, you could do it. So let's go back to song service for a second. So you could change it here. We
But
also
why?
could do something like make the failure and success static methods package access. You couldn't even create a new one here at this level. So
Hmm.
that would be probably useful. We should probably go look at that. Um, so let's say we changed it. So let's say, I mean, let's actually do it on line 35. Sorry, what was 35? Right. Instead of returning a result, let's return a new result.
Hmm.
And so,
Actually, there's a factory method, isn't there?
yeah, let's return. So we're gonna expect failure. So let's return, success. Uh, yeah. So this was Suiji's suggestion. Let's try to break it.
Yeah. But don't we want it to be? Oh, the test will. Yeah. So if we did
We want
this, that'll break the test.
Well, no, because it's expecting our well, actually, let's see what happens if we do that. Yeah, let's hard code failure. And I think it requires some parameters, otherwise
Oh,
it's not going to compile.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So it fails as we would have expected it to.
Right.
And if we did success, so let's try doing result success, and we can just pass in null. We don't have to pass in anything. Oh, it's not going to know which null, so we can. Uh, uh,
What is
we'll
it
have to.
taking?
So it either takes a song or a list of song, and if you pass in null, it doesn't know which one to call.
Ah,
So you'll have to cast it to song so it knows which null we're nulling. Oh, of course it won't let us. What am I saying? Let's do let's just do song dot. Do we have a static method on that? No.
no.
Let's use song factory then. Oh, we can't access it because we're in production code.
Right.
So let's create a variable song and assign it null, and then we'll just pass that in.
Sorry, I couldn't resist the joke, even though it was brief.
Well, that would be actually not at all useful
No.
by doing a var. So no, we just want to do null.
Oh,
The whole point
just
was
like
to
this.
avoid actually creating a yeah.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. And so now this broke a bunch of other tests.
Right.
So
Which is expected.
if we didn't have the test above, right? If we said, oh, the whole test isn't necessary, then we could not accidentally, we could change it. On the other hand, why would we do that? And would we'd be changing behavior and we wouldn't have a failing test. And so I just I think it's a useful test. I don't think we need any more of it, because if we changed the failure messages, then the test directly against the parser would fail.
Right.
So
So message changing is covered by the parser direct
by
test.
closer in tests, yeah.
And then the farther out tests,
Just test to see, are we returning the expected results? Is it being passed along?
right.
That it didn't get either thrown away or munged in the process.
Yeah. So I'm convinced we don't need a fail test at the.
Well, you don't need to check for the failure messages is what we don't need to do.
Yeah.
You still
Sorry,
need to
failure
check that
messages.
that's failed. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's go back. Let's close this. Let's undo. Whoa. I must have done a cut or something.
So you've got a test in the wrong tab, wrong pane.
Yeah. How did this get out? So
just click in the gutter.
yeah, just revert. Okay. Now everything should pass. That's the only change we made.
Yep.
Yep. And we were looking at this test. Song importer, you can go away.
So what's interesting here, note that we're not in our import songs method at the bottom. We're actually not checking for success and failure. Yet
Right.
everything is working. Because if it failed, songs is empty. And so import songs, to a certain extent, doesn't care itself whether it was successful or not.
Right.
Because if it failed, songs is going to be empty. The for each will basically loop over nothing, and then we'll return the result. And that's nice because means we don't have to have a decision statement in this class, in this method.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. All right, let's do
Commit.
a commit. Yep.
Good.
I might say what we're actually testing, which is returns the actual result. Yep. So I'd actually like to go into result for a bit and change the and check the access for the static methods. Yeah, so let's change all those static methods. Let's just
To
remove
package.
public. Yeah, so let's just remove public. So you can do
Oops.
Alt-J if you
Oh
want.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
You want to capture the one above where you are.
Was there a static above? There was. Let me.
So hit escape, otherwise you're going to be in multi-caret hell. So what I tend to do here to make sure I've captured the right ones is I select public static, then do the multi-cursor, and then reduce the selection to public.
So you're saying this.
Yeah, that way if I happen to start on the third one, I can wrap around and capture all of them.
I got it. Okay. Now go home key.
Yep.
And then delete.
Yeah, you could have selected the word, but same thing.
Yep. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. The way multi-caret.
Yeah, so multi-caret, everything happens exactly the same. Control W works, moving the arrow, selecting works. You could even do a Control W here. everything works. It's just now operating on 4 different points in the program.
Right. Sweet.
And don't forget to escape out.
Hmm.
So let's run the test mainly more to see if stuff compiled. Okay. And now if we just go back to the song service, and if we try to, for example, return a result success, we shouldn't be able to access that from here. Uppercase R. Because we want to see if the static methods should no longer be
Oh,
available.
right. Huh.
Well, just because it shows it to you doesn't mean it's available.
Ah,
I would choose failure because that's going to be easier to.
yeah, the whole.
So
It compiled.
so that which packages result in? You'll need to
Application.
scroll. You'll need to scroll up because I can't see the package. Oh, result is in the application. I guess that makes sense because it's about the parse. Well, so wait. So who's? Can we go look at failure and see who's calling that? I'm wondering if that's in the right package.
This failure?
Sure.
Song parser.
Okay. So what package is the parser in?
Hey, application.
Okay, so our parser is in application. Um, all right. Yeah, all right. Let's not worry about that too much.
Okay. It was a
But
it was a good experiment.
it's still good to have not default everything to public is the basic guideline.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's fix this.
yeah, fix this.
I could have just done revert, but
Yeah,
oh well.
and let's go back to a result because I also want to check the constructor. I wasn't sure if those should have been private. In fact, yeah. So those should be private because we shouldn't be we're not accessing them externally, right? Yeah, so those are inside. So that should be private, and that should be private.
No.
So the word was already selected, so you could have just
Yeah,
start typing.
I know. Still getting used to it.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's run.
I did run them. Oops. Run it twice.
All right. Let's commit. So I prefer to use the term visibility here because accessibility is an overloaded term.
Right.
And it really is about the rest of it was fine. Not sure. So tightened up visibility.
What? Not like the spelling of visibility?
Because you're missing an I after B.
Ah,
So you can replace it.
good.
Yep.
Have we really got an hour already? Phew.
Um, did you want to take a break now?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
Just a quick
All
quick
right. So
mental.
we'll take a break, and when we come back, now that we've propagated result, now we can start using it, and we'll test drive the controller to do the right thing. So we'll see you in a bit. All right, and we're back.
Woohoo!
So, being the kind of person that I am, I went and looked at the Java language specification because it's like, what do they call it visibility or accessibility? They actually do call it accessibility. There is a visibility used in another context.
Mm,
So technically, accessibility is the correct word, but
yeah.
I
So
still
of course I
find visibility. I like
well,
visibility better.
right. Well, accessibility, like you said, is overloaded term.
Yeah,
Um, you think about, software being accessible or
exactly.
a
Yeah,
building being accessible.
right,
Um, yeah, I actually in C++ they call it accessibility, and that's the language I know
right.
the, the best. So that's where I was coming from. Interesting. I do like visibility. That makes sense too. Um,
All
you gonna
right.
tackle the split result next, or actually you said something right before as I was walking out.
Um, I think just that we propagate result all the way to our controller.
Right, that was it.
So here, this is where I think we have a test against this. Yeah, maybe even two.
Was it one or two? Yeah, two. Yes, two.
So let's look at the first one. So that's the happy scenario. Um, we handle null specifically there in the next test, and so now we're going to need to write a new test. So we're in the change behavior portion of our TDD cycle. So we'll write a failing test, get it to fail in the right way, and then we'll do it.
I'm just mimicking your previous naming. Not that I like it. Handles failure. I don't know. I don't really like that.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the word handle.
Yeah, I don't like this name. Yeah, this I like this naming better. Mhm.
Welcome back, Astrid. um, so I think it's what song import adds failure messages.
Oh, the name of the method is handle song import.
Yeah.
Ah, so sorry. What was it you were saying again?
So song import adds failure messages. Um,
To return? No.
for failed import. So it's going to be pretty similar to um, the one where you've got the test highlighted, the one that handles null, because we won't, we're not actually importing, so we don't care about the repository. All we care about is uh, what we're actually trying to import.
So the whole thing, or just the S and
Just those parts.
the S and the E.
So there are two outcomes that we want. Um, uh, One is the redirect should redirect back to song import. So actually, it is the same as 40 and 41. I just realized that. Um, so we can start there by and then let's sketch out the next assert, even though we won't implement it. Sorry, by sketch out I meant make as a comment. And we can just use English to say assert failure messages added to model. See, we're writing a list of things to test. So now we want to pull in instead of null, we actually want to pull in some bad song data. So we can grab our bad song data from the previous test.
This is the previous test just
Our
had
previous
import null.
test temporally. What was the last
Ah,
test that we worked on?
this one.
Yeah. So previous as in what we worked on time-wise, not space-wise.
Right. Getting all TARDIS-y on us here.
Uh-huh. I'd like to rename that variable.
Yeah.
And maybe we should rename it in the other test as well. Because it's basically
Not two songs.
well, it's two malformed songs. Yeah. And this is the kind of cleanup that would get me into trouble. It's like, what? Why are you making changes here? You're not modifying code. Why are you making changes outside the scope of the code you're working on? Because we noticed it and we want to keep our code clean. That's why.
Yeah. Exactly.
All
We
right.
have more of those, but that's good enough for now.
Yeah. So let's pass that instead of null. So our expectation here, what's our expectation?
It should still work because we're not checking the return from import songs. If it fails, we won't know as the caller of handle song import. Because it's not throwing an exception, right?
Right. So will the test pass or fail?
Oh, wait a second. If songs is null, yeah, no, it'll fail because it'll go here.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'll fail because we're going to redirect to root instead of redirecting back to song import.
Back to song import. Yeah.
Which is good because that's our change in behavior.
Yep.
Let's run it. Watch it fail.
Make sure it fails in the right way, which it did.
Mm-hmm. So, as predicted. All right. So now let's make a pass.
I hate to write an if statement here, but we'll just do it. I guess it'd be the y'all like the
Well, so
bang.
what I would do is avoid that. So what do we want to return if it is successful?
If it is successful, we want it to return this.
No.
Oh, sorry, this.
Yes. So basically wrap
Oh,
that in the if statement.
got it. Nope. And then make this the default if you follow through.
Mhm. All right, so we think that'll work. And it does. Now, what do we think we can refactor that and simplify it?
Yeah, I'm not liking all the if statements, frankly. Um,
So what I wonder is what happens if does our import songs handle null?
in other words,
Yeah, what if we commented that out? What would happen?
let's find out.
Aha. So we don't handle null. Um, I don't know if we want to, but I was just curious if we handled it or not. I think honestly, I think we could um yeah, let's leave it. There's some other things we could do, but that takes us a bit off the path.
As far as moving the null check elsewhere, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think we'll just have to leave it. So the question is can we refactor the success thing at all? Hey, Tukes, welcome.
I guess if we did reverse this, the
No, I don't
song
think
is not.
I'm not concerned about refactoring that part. I'm concerned about refactoring the success if else. Right, refactoring the code we just wrote.
Got it. Are you talking about inlining result, or is there something else you're thinking of?
No, I'm thinking, is there anything I don't have anything specific in mind. I was wondering if
Oh,
there's anything we could do to refactor that. I
nothing's
mean
jumping out at me.
I mean, we could turn it into a ternary that's a little bit cleaner. So let's try it. We'll see how that looks.
You're saying a ternary here,
No, no,
like
no.
this?
No, no. If you put the caret on if and then alt enter,
Ah,
um, replace if, oh, yeah, that one. So I generally also am not crazy about ternaries. Um, Somehow though it looks cleaner to me, and I'm not sure why, other than it's many fewer lines.
and I'm not a fan of ternary. Well, ternary can be valuable, the but it does look cleaner. What is my? Why do I have a gut reaction against it in this situation?
So I generally format my ternaries not as one line, so I find that it looks almost like an if else. It's just more compact.
Huh?
So
I've
I
never
put
done that before, like this.
that, yeah.
And then what? Break here or the colon?
So sorry, I put the question mark at the front and then the colon at the front of the next line.
So like that.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never seen that before.
Yeah. So what I like about that
So
is it puts the oh, which one are we doing? And then oh, we're doing the other one. So Astrid doesn't like it.
well, I'm with you, Astrid. My initial reaction was I don't like it, but I don't. I wonder if it's because it's unfamiliar, not because it's actually
Yeah.
not better.
Yeah.
Um,
And so end of functor zero, hey there. There's a little bit of a functional taste to this, and that's why I do it this way, because it really is a mapping. We're mapping success to two possible outcome values. So
I like that you called it a taste of functional.
Yeah, because it's
Now I'm
not.
hungry. Sorry, you going to say something?
I was just gonna say that it's not really functional because we're not calling any kind of actual mapping on it. Um,
Right. Well, I want to channel Kent back. Like I don't like this, therefore I want to try it some more. So
all right,
um, to
let's leave it and let stew, and then we can come back
yeah.
to it.
Well, if we're going with the stew's a good one. Marinate. Both
Yeah,
are
yeah,
continuing with the food theme.
that's right.
Uh,
To torture you, yes.
it's all good. Okay. Let's rerun the test, even though it was an automatic refactoring. And
Yeah,
let's
intervention
commit.
zero suggests what would be the worst possible way to do this. The worst possible way is maybe a switch statement. Actually, a switch statement might be interesting. Actually, switch might not be so bad. Will
Are they
IntelliJ
even
convert this to
offer?
I don't think it'll offer. Um, so let's
But if we went to an
well,
if, would it
yeah,
convert
so
the if to
let's
us?
convert it back to an if and see if it'll offer a switch. I don't think it will. You have to be on the if statement itself.
All right. No, I think we'd have to make an else.
Yeah, so let's go to the block if to add the braces. And then do an else block around the other one.
Do we need an else if around the other one?
No, because it literally is the else condition because it's
No, I
only
meant for
Boolean.
the no, that part I knew. I meant
Oh,
for the having IntelliJ recommend a switch. See, I think if it was an else if, we're trying to make it ugly,
oh,
right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, then you would say result, not result, result success, not, or not result success, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So now would it suggest a switch?
No, but
No,
what is it suggesting? So now it's highlighted in orange. What does it suggest if you alt enter on the orange?
probably a local variable.
Oh no, now it's just an inspection. Um, well, let's write the switch manually.
Okay.
I'm really curious what the switch looks like. Since we have switch expressions, we can do a return switch.
Okay, return switch.
And that's going to be result dot is success. um,
Have we
and
is that correct syntax? Return switch? I don't think I've seen that.
yeah, so that's the switch expression syntax that's
Okay.
within the past few years. Um, so now if you alt enter on the red, it may offer to fill in or not. Why is no? Oh, selector type Boolean is not supported. Yeah, we'd have to do an enum or something. All right.
Okay, we're getting
We were trying to make it worse, and it's just not possible. Uh, so let's go back to the so you can undo your way there if you'd like. If there's a way to do a for loop on this, then sure. You could loop through both possible values of Boolean. I don't know that now it feels like we've gone past the point of
absurdity.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to rerun the test because that was a little bit chunky.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say we commit this one.
Yes, let's commit.
We bubbled
Well, now we redirect appropriately based on failure, but we're still not done
Right.
with the test. So Tukes asks, know the shortcut to open dialog to create a new class or interface, but how to navigate it inside it without using the arrow keys. Without using the arrow keys? Why would you want to navigate without using the arrow keys? The whole point of dialogues and such initiated with a shortcut is you want to navigate with the arrow keys. So tell me more.
Hmm. Got an okay commit
Yep.
message?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So now we want to do this part.
Yes.
So how do we hit the model in the past? That part has been too far in the past in my brain.
Well, we can't because there is no model. So we now have to modify the method to accept a model. Well, there are two ways to do it. Or there's always multiple ways to do it with Spring. We can pass in a model and then inspect it in our assertion, or we can change the return type of string to another class called a redirect in view.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm old school. I don't know. I don't I don't know what if any is the preferred or quote modern way to do it. But I tend to like injecting the model. So it's called redirect and view, which is of course
What?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I don't even know what it's called. Maybe it's just redirect view.
This one? Yeah, this one.
So the redirect view is a class that I think can contain model stuff in it, but I feel like I'm not even sure if it has the model in it. Let's go with the way that I actually prefer and know about.
Sounds good.
So in our test, we'll need to create a model instance.
That'd be in the setup.
I sort of consider it part of the execute.
Okay.
I just group it there. So we say model, and then a variable. Oh, it's model and view, not redirect view. That was the class I was thinking of.
Because there was one called redirect view as well.
Yeah, no, then I realized that that's not the right the one that had the and in it, and I just got the first part of the name wrong. And then we're gonna do new concurrent model. Yep, that's it. And then we'll pass that in as the second parameter to the method. And we'll have it add the parameter. Yeah, just add the
That all
parameter.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a no behavior change. So everything should still just work.
Whoop.
Aha.
Ah.
So other places where we're doing it, we need to also, and so this is sort of the downside of adding a parameter in this way.
Right.
So let's actually undo the refactor, and I think we can do it again
Yeah, I think I know what
to
you're
capture
talking about.
these.
Yeah. Undo. Yes.
Nope, went too far.
Whoop.
Nope, nope.
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, so now we want to do the refactor. Yeah, add it. And now here, we need to specify a default. So click
Of
in
null.
there.
Got it.
And the default value should be new concurrent model.
Really?
Yeah, because the places that are not
Oh, I didn't know you could
checking
do
it.
this from here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ah,
The magic of change signature.
cool. Now refactor.
Now refactor. And I just noticed that the dialog itself uses the word visibility for public, private, and package, even though technically it's accessibility. So I'm not the only one who feels that way. Um, so now this should not have broken anything if we did it correctly. Excellent.
Sweet.
Now we can start asserting against the model in our current test. Hey there, Jonas. Welcome. So what do we want in our model is the question.
We want the failure messages. I forget, are those an array or
Those are a list of
a
string.
list?
So what we can do is jump to our HTML file, our template.
Actually, I'm not going to do that.
Control Shift N.
Will that narrow it down? It will.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, Astrid, I missed the celebrate from before. Sorry about that. As I said, StreamYard does not forward redemptions. So I end up having to have monitor 2 windows. Sorry. So what we probably want is above the form, like 9.5. What we'd want here is I don't know. We can start with just a bunch of paragraphs. So P and then yeah, and then as part of the P, we can do it inside the P, we can do a TH colon. What do we want? Do we want an each? I think we want an each. So yeah, TH colon each, and then in quotes, so equals, and then in quotes.
Oh, okay.
We want, we can just call it message and then colon. So message space colon. And then a space, and then a dollar and a curly brace pair. Is that a curly brace?
It is.
Okay. And this is where we want failure messages. So lowercase f and then uppercase M. And that will be the name of the attribute that we add to the model.
Got it.
And then what we want is we actually want to display the message. So we can do a after the closing quote, we can put another th colon text, and then equals, and then in double quotes the dollar curly brace message.
Like that?
Yep. So the for loop basically is for the each is basically message, give me, right? So basically your typical for loop, for message from failure messages. And so then the local variables
Ah,
message. Uh, let's,
and this is the TH is time leaf for folks who
exactly.
are unfamiliar.
Let's add a little bit of style just so we know these are error messages. So after the double quote, say style equals, spelled
If I
correctly.
spelled it,
And we can just say color colon red.
fancy.
Um, And that should be fine. Yeah. Uh, inside the pair of P's, let's just just say failure message so we can preview it. And then let's actually preview it in IntelliJ. Yeah, good enough.
Okay.
So that will show up if there are any failure messages, and now we know what we're looking for. And so now we can go back to our test and assert that model. um, no, we can do it outside, I think. Let's try it. Um, oh, because it doesn't see it as a map. All right, we'll do it inside for now. For now, it just contains attribute and the attribute that you have in your clipboard. Yep. And that's true. We can delete our comments as we now know what we're doing. We can close the HTML at the bottom and go back to our code. We want the song importer. Yeah. So what do we think?
So it should fail because we haven't populated the model with failure messages.
Right.
Let's run the test and find out. Failed. Yep. As expected.
As expected. Yep. So let's make it pass.
So now
now that doesn't work so well. That doesn't.
our friend the if statement was useful now.
Yeah. So we might want to convert it back to an if statement, an if else block, which IntelliJ should help us with. Yeah. Although it did it horribly.
That is really ugly. Really? There's not a like introduce. Oh, I think
You can, yeah, over there you can introduce the braces.
Okay. So now if failure, we want to.
Right.
Now, interesting. Well, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This test is also a failure, but we have not populated failure messages yet.
Yeah.
So, but we're focused on this path.
Yeah, I honestly don't think we can ever really get null. Because I think no matter what, the only way you could get null is if somebody explicitly calls
this method
a post directly with nothing in the body. So in that case, because if it's ever submitted by a web form, there must be an entry for that field.
Right.
And so so the null protection is really against somebody hitting it directly. There's no way a web form could generate null. Yeah, well, it's really interesting when you make the shift, especially to TDD, you end up almost never manually testing. Like we haven't manually tested this thing. I don't think we did it yesterday. We might do it today, but it becomes the sort of just double checking. Yeah, looks okay. Like we'll do it because we want to see the failure messages because we don't have tests directly for the HTML. But other than that, you end up spending most of your time in the code, writing your expectations and then making them and then fulfilling them. And it's a very different way of thinking, but it's
powerful
and just so much faster. Overall, it's faster
and less stressful.
Definitely less stressful. Yeah. So what we're going to do is an add attribute, and then you give it the name of the attribute, and then our failure messages.
And you,
So it's just
is
a
it
name value pair, so comma, and then
result dot? Do we pass it as as a
yep,
list of strings?
yep,
So like that.
yep,
Okay.
yep,
So it can handle that.
yep.
Okay. So now, well, we were passing, right?
Well,
No,
no,
we
we
were
were
failing.
failing. Now we want it
And
to pass.
now I want to pass. This is doing, and it's testing if it contains the attribute. Okay. Right.
Yeah,
So
so this is actually a bigger step than we need. So let's make it a smaller step. So instead of saying result failure messages, just put an empty string.
when you say empty string, you mean right here.
Yeah.
And shift F10. That should pass. Nope. Because semicolon.
So a shortcut I recommend you learning
Oh,
sooner rather than
right.
later is the auto finish my statement for me.
Yeah. Don't tell me it. I think I have it on my cheat sheet list. Thought I did it. Give me. No, I don't have it. I thought I did. Okay. What is it?
Um, it is Control Shift Enter.
Oh,
So delete the semicolon at the end of the line on line
I,
35.
I will. I'm just typing it in my
Oh,
notepad
okay.
here. And now Control Shift
Uh,
Enter.
but hold on. Move your caret to inside the paren. Anywhere is fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Control Shift Enter that I'm
Uh-huh.
typing.
So basically so in fact, delete the last two characters on that line.
Yeah. 1 second. I'm being paged,
Okay.
so to speak. Okay. I'm back.
All right.
So you were saying,
So delete the
go
semicolon and the closing paren, and then move the caret somewhere else in the line.
Control Shift Enter
Yeah.
again.
So here it couldn't necessarily figure out that you needed a closing paren, but often it will do the right thing.
But I mean, at least it moved me to the place where
Yeah, yeah,
you needed to finish.
yeah. So I almost never type a semicolon
Wow.
uh, because
And it's
that's one of
called
the most
code
common
completion.
keystrokes I do. Yeah.
Code
So it's
completion.
not just add semicolons; it's close parens, close other stuff, um, and then put a semicolon where needed.
I couldn't figure that one out.
Well, it won't close blocks. It's only going to close the current
Ah,
statement.
got it. Right. It does say code complete current statement
Yeah.
as its name. Okay. So now that we've got that, it
Mhm.
should pass because it's just about whether
Right.
failure message exists. Cool. Now we jack up the assert.
Yep.
The same assert or have a new one?
So now we can transform this assert. Instead of contains attribute, we can actually get the attribute contents.
But do it to the same assert,
Yeah,
not
because now we're as you said, we're ratcheting up
gotcha.
the assert. So this will return what we hope to be a list.
Right. So
So we can
then
just start by saying has size of 2. Oh, it doesn't know what it is.
right, 'cause it's type object.
So we can either cast it or pull it out into a variable. I generally like to pull this out into a variable to make it clear
Yeah,
what its type is.
that's what I was gonna suggest.
Because it just knows it as an object because it's an untyped, basically an
Right.
untyped map, and then we'll explicitly define it as a list of string.
And
and you'll need to
Now,
cast it. You'll need to cast it.
oh, right.
Alt enter. Yep.
Sweet.
And it's complaining it's an unchecked cast, and we don't care. So now we can say has size of 2. We think
And
it's
now
2,
run the
right?
test.
Yeah, 2 malformed songs.
Yeah, that was
Yep.
2.
Yep.
Well, actually, there was 2 songs. Oh, cannot be cast.
Right, because we did just enough to make the previous test pass. We've ratcheted up our expectations, so we should have expected this to fail. In that we're
Oh,
returning
because
a
we didn't change
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that failed for the right reason. We just didn't predict it in time.
Predict poorly. And failure messages is coming. Is that right?
No.
No, that's not right. Oh, right. Result. There we go.
Right. Right.
And we were saying there would be 2.
Right.
Is it?
So this
Yeah,
should
they're
now
both
pass.
malformed. Actually, is it has 1 or has 2?
Why would it be 1?
No, I guess it's neither one of them are 9. Never mind.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's why it's 2 malformed songs and not 1 okay song and 1 malformed song.
That'd be a long variable name.
Yes, it would be.
So
But
that
possibly
passed.
useful. All right, so that pass. And now what we can do is
Do a characterization test on the message.
so again, why?
Oh, at this level.
At this level, we know the messages are correct. What we're just saying is that whatever the messages are, we know they're correct. Here we're just testing where they put into the model.
Right.
We don't care what they are. Now we can do is we can actually run the application and see what the failure messages look like. So this is where, if we really wanted to, we could write an HTML test that would test exactly what we're going to inspect manually. But I feel like inspecting it manually is A, more fun, and B, easier to. And
And
once it works, we know then it works.
right. And UI tests tend to be brittle.
Yeah.
So we want song import. Oh, I got to do it's the one thing I didn't do. Oh, good. Shut up on screen too. So this is the kind.
Yes.
Kind as in not kinde. So that wants my email. So now the whole world knows. Guess I should have done that off screen. Oh well.
All right. So let's I mean, we could paste that, but let's grab something from your spreadsheet where you have the wrong number of columns.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Oh,
Oh, didn't fail. Interesting. Well, it could have been the time leaf stuff.
so let's look at, so it looks like we got an error page.
We did?
Yeah. So if you look at the stack trace, it looked like it
Oh,
had redirected to an
dump.
error page. Or it looked at it had attempted to, so it did the get, it mapped the song import. Not sure why I tried to dispatch to to error, and I'm not sure why the error page is not showing up. Can we go and check the web security config? Because I thought we fixed that.
Sure. So that means I log into kind.
No, no, no. The web security config
Oh,
Java
that was
code.
gotcha.
I'm not sure exactly what we call it. Just look for a config. Or
There it is.
yeah. Um, Now that's interesting. We did do dispatcher type matchers for forward and for error to permit all. So why is it not?
Is it expecting a page called slash error? Kind of looks like
Yeah,
it here.
so you see there it does a get error, but then we get a 403 on trying to resolve what looks like trying to resolve the error page.
Do we have an error page?
An error page is automatically generated and handled by Spring Boot unless you tell it otherwise.
Ah, okay. I was like, I
Um,
don't remember us creating that.
let's where your caret is right now. Let's actually add a comma slash a comma double quote slash error. And while we're here, um, I think let's do that for now and then restart. Um, just so we know where we are, if you click into there, yeah. Um,
Clear. Is there a clear?
there is, and I'm just yeah, I'm wondering if that's and maybe if it didn't yeah. So clear it because maybe that's not the problem. And maybe I was reading the stack trace wrong or the logging stuff wrong. All right, so let's yeah, let's paste in.
And import.
Uh, can we look at the song importer? So let's stop the application. We can close that.
This one?
Yeah. So the problem here is because we're doing a redirect, the model information is actually lost. And almost every time I do this, I forget that this is the case.
Ah,
So we are adding attributes to the model. The model, though, only lives for one request response. So the response, the model exists, we redirect, and it redirects and does a get request. And at that point, the model information is lost. So it redirected properly. It's just we don't want to add it to a regular model. We actually want to add it to a special kind of model called the redirect attributes. So instead, so we'll need to write modify our test. So I had misinterpreted our runtime. Had nothing to do with the slash error.
got it.
We
Should we
can
go and
actually,
undo that?
yeah, we can undo that.
I'm just gonna do it. Actually, I'll do it this way. Okay. Close it.
Um, yeah, we can close it. I was going to suggest something that's off.
Oh,
off,
tangential.
off. Yeah, tangential. Thank you. So let's go to our importer test. We want instead of a concurrent model, what we want is a redirect attributes model map.
Whoa.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think it's the same.
Is this we run it and find out kind of
Uh,
thing? Or do you
yeah.
think
Well, let's run the tests. They should still pass, but we'll need to change the type.
trying to run all tests? The type on line 57 on the left-hand side. Ooh, song importer test is failing. Oh, that's probably due to the type.
Um, so let's.
Do you want to do that?
No, we shouldn't need to do that.
Okay.
Um, I wonder though. Let's see. Um, so redirect attributes acts in a different way because it has to it basically gets added to the what's it called, the basically as a query string. I think that's not actually what we want to use here. If it was a simple one, a simple scalar value, then this would be fine. But because it's a list, I think we actually want to use what are called flash attributes.
So that would mean, is this add attribute is no longer attribute, it's add something like flash attribute?
So we need to use, let me find my example. Where is it? So weird. Okay, I forgot about a project that I use all the time. Oh, we can still use the redirect attributes. We're just doing the add flash attribute instead of add regular attribute.
So here it would be, oh, but it thinks it's model, it needs to be
Right. So
redirect,
let's not change code without
right?
updating our test. I think our test is actually still okay, but we need to change the type of the model that's being passed in.
Okay.
So let's do this through refactoring.
Sure, I just made a mess. There we go.
Um, so let's do this through a change signature on the song importer method.
Song importer.
So the handle song import, we want to change its signature because we want to change model to be redirect attributes.
Oh, here.
Yeah,
Got it.
but you need to change the signature, not that item.
Nope.
Nope.
I forget the change signature. Control F6.
Yeah, it's not an obvious keystroke. And so we want to change the type to be redirect attributes. Yep. Let's
Whoops.
rename the. That's fine. No,
Oh,
it's fine. Let's rename the parameter.
this one.
Yep. Yep. The first choice.
To redirect attributes. Okay.
Yep. And let's in our test, we now need to update all the places that's used.
Oh, so we're not using, we're not passing in redirect attributes model map. We're now,
Well, the problem is we're passing in too high a level of an interface from our test, and that's why it's not working.
got it.
So what are you doing next?
I'm trying to figure out where to go next, actually.
So up on the top, line 58, we can see that that's not
Ah, there
right.
we
We
go.
need to change its type. No, we need to change the line 57 how it's declared. So that type is not correct. It needs to match what we're passing into the constructor. So we need to change the declaration type, not the instance.
So here.
Yes.
And
Right.
is this still a model, a map,
Yes,
model
that is
map?
an implementation of a redirect attribute. So
Ah,
redirect
okay.
attributes is an interface, just like model is an interface.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
But we don't, we
Um,
want to still call this model though?
no, we can rename it here.
Same
Yep.
redirect
Yep.
attributes.
Mhm. And there are probably two other places in the code that are broken because we used to use new concurrent model, and we want to replace those with new redirect attributes model map. Um, so I would, yeah, so we can go to each of those and replace those. Nope.
Nope.
That's the interface.
I must be getting tired because I'm now forgetting what the name of that class was. Oh, it's down here. This guy.
No, it's not that. It's the same instantiated thing we did in the other test. If you just start typing, one of the autocomplete options will be what you need.
Yeah, I just want to go to this and see. Oh, that's the failing one. This one. Ah, okay, so it's that. Got it. That one.
Yes. And if you hit F2, it'll jump to the next error.
I think we got them all.
All right. So let's run the tests. I still suspect that actually I don't know what this will do. Let's run a test and see what happens.
I'm currently running all. I'm going to switch back to IO free.
Um yeah, we can do that next time. All right. So what we want to do is we want to change our code to be redirect attributes add flash attribute on the bottom on line 35.
Like that.
Yeah.
Does that mean this one becomes a get for flash attribute as well?
Let's see. I'm not sure. Let's run it and let's run the test and find out.
Well, there is a get flash attributes in
There
there.
is, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what get attribute actually does because it's still part of the model interface. Okay, so we do need to look at the flash attributes. So in this case, what we can do is yeah, so we're gonna have to do get flash attributes and then extract out of that. So get flash attributes doesn't take any parameters because it returns the entire map.
Ah,
So what I would do is I would delete that line of code.
oh, entirely. Okay.
Yeah. And instead of failure messages, get the flash attribute map from the redirect attributes. So redirect attributes dot get flash attributes.
Ah,
And that's it.
really?
So we expect that let's see this. So the size of the map
This
is
is a
actually
map.
1. So what we can do from there is we can do a dot get of failure messages, the string.
Like that? Or it doesn't like
Yeah.
have
Oh,
size anymore.
right, because yeah, I was
That's an
thinking we
obvious.
could check the size of the map, but I think we want to be a little bit more precise. So let's extract that entire expression into a variable. So you don't have to select if you're doing extract variable.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so we'll do the same thing. So this will be our failure messages, and we'll cast this to a list of string. So you can change the type first and have it,
Auto.
yeah, have it suggest the cast. Yep. Now we're sort of back to where we were.
But using flash attributes.
But now we're looking at the flash attributes. Yeah.
Run the test and predict, or predict and run the test.
That's the correct order. Yes. This should pass. All right.
You
Great.
liked my order correction on the fly there, huh?
Yes. So now let's run the application and should see that it works. Right.
Nice. Wait a second. That's a useful error message.
What?
Are we okay? That's a
That's
useful error
crazy.
message. There's something wrong. We got to fix that. We got to make it more obscure.
Yeah, we just have to say fix your input, something like that.
Yeah. Invalid input.
Invalid. Perfect. Yes.
It's less words. We're saving pixels.
Yeah, that's right.
The world will.
We're saving bytes being transferred. Yeah. So the one thing that this doesn't do, and we can fix that next time, is it doesn't preserve the input. It's basically what we need to do is take the input and put it back into the flash attributes map, and then it would come back. And that's sort of even better. It's like now it's like your input's gone, but you got the error messages, but you may not be able to know exactly what you typed. So so we can fix that for next time. But let's update our Jira.
Put the back to the I just wanted to get that reminder
Yeah,
for next time.
yeah.
We actually didn't really make a Jira ticket. The project managers, I can hear them all screaming right now. We didn't
I
make
thought
a
we
Jira ticket for what we're doing just now.
I thought we did.
Did we?
Is it not lower down?
Let me. No?
Uh, oh, I thought we did.
Oh, it's okay.
All right.
Beside being the product, owner, I'm also the PM, so
Right.
it's okay.
Well, we get to create an item and check it off. So let's do
Yeah,
that.
it's Jira after.
Right.
Create ticket after.
That's the order I prefer.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so we haven't, well, let's see, failure message
Dis
bubbles up.
dis yeah, display failure messages in UI.
That's a better way than I would have phrased it. So thank you. Now we should commit.
Yeah, I think we said he is the customer. Yeah. Owner,
Yeah,
customer. Yeah. User,
I
everybody.
have so many hats. Maybe I
Um,
should next time I should come on with like 5 or 6 hats instead.
right. Uh, yeah,
Commit.
let's commit.
Commit and push because at the end of the
Yeah, we
day.
can commit and push. Yeah.
Cool beans.
All right.
So next time we'll put the original bulk import stream back in the box. We'll look into splitting the result into 2 concrete classes. Well, I think you really wanted to move up the custom assert for result.
Yeah, so that's a bunch of sort of inner stuff. Do we want to think about what major so we now have like a working UI, right? So when it works, it adds it. We know that, and when we've entered something wrong, we actually get useful error messages instead of an exception. So from a high level feature point of view, what might we do next?
Well, there's either the skipping over unused columns into the header row. That's the one you want. And then there's persisting to a database.
Woo!
I'm inclined to go with skipping header rows first, then database. But,
um,
but I'm
yeah,
open to.
yeah. So is it just skipping header rows, or is it matching?
Skip over
Skip
unused
over. Okay,
columns
right.
needs
Which
a header
we
row.
needs a header row. Yes, I think that's a good next feature. Yeah,
To me, it feels better to do that before
I
persisting
think
to the
so. I
database.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we'll do that next, and then probably persist to database is then the next big technical. I mean, it's certainly
yeah.
a feature that our customer wants. They don't want to re-import every time the server reboots. So yes, um, that's not just a technical thing; it's actually useful. All right,
Yeah, I think that's a plan.
yeah. So that's all, folks. Thanks for joining and participating and celebrating our little wins. Not sure when we'll pair stream again, maybe over the weekend, we'll see. Otherwise, as always, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Um, I'll push the Discord and the weekly book club. So again, never too late to join. Hit me up on the Discord and I'll get you hooked up. Uh, we're going to be discussing the rest of chapter 2 and then chapter 3 of The Programmer's Brain. Really interesting book. Engenders really interesting conversations. So join us for that. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.